Good afternoon, good evening, Speed Gaming 3. We are here for another round of the Link to the Past Randomizer Spoiler Log tournament here for SGL. I got a matchup today of shadyforce and humbugh. This is an elimination race. Whoever wins this one's going to stay alive in the tournament. Whoever loses, this will be their second loss, and they will be eliminated from the tournament. Joining me today on commentary, I have Vortex of Doom. How you doing, Vortex?
Doing great. Really excited for this race. These guys are both very good players who have been playing very well recently. This is an exciting mode and very execution heavy, so it's always fun to watch and see the choices they make.
Yep. For anyone who's joining us who hasn't been following this tournament, spoiler log means that the runners 15 minutes ago received the log where all of the items in the seed are, and had that time to put together their route for the race. And now they are racing. So we see both runners starting at Sanctuary, skipping that Sanctuary chest. They know whatever's inside of there isn't something that they need, at least not right now. And looks like they're both heading west.
Yeah, a huge part of early spoiler log routing is just resource gathering. Like if you need to go to some place that requires bombs, you need a place to find them, or that kind of thing. So a lot of the divergence you'll see at the beginning of a seed is different decisions on which way of getting bombs is most worthwhile, or rupees or whatever.
Right. So we see Shady heading into the well, getting a sword and a boomerang. See humbugh heading into Blindset and kicking up 3 bombs there, a heart container. And looks like they're going to just swap places at this point. So, yeah, like you said, that early resource management, if you have to track down rupees for something at Bottle Merchant or at Zora, that can be tricky. If even sometimes, finding magic early, there's not a lot of places that'll show up. And you'll have to kind of track it down.
Interestingly, the Well First and Blinds Hut First produced very similar results. I think conventional wisdom is sort of that better to save and quit out of Blind's Hut, but it doesn't entirely matter, looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not more than a second or two difference at this point, so tough to chalk that up to any major routing divergence. And we now are headed to Hyrule Castle with that sword.
Yeah, this is... having looked at the spoiler log a little bit, this is one of the choices that I was kind of curious about for the beginning of the seed. I think it will become evident why they felt that this was a good choice, but there's a few things coming up that I think are going to make the question of what to do academic or not academic, and we'll have to ask the runners if they considered any of the alternatives when all is said and done.
Yep, so humbugh's going to be the first here into the boomerang chest and get the boots and save and quit out. Shady's going to do the same thing here. So some nice sub 3 minute boots. You're going to be dashing around for the whole seed. And now we get a little bit more openness to, routing potential here. Looks like both guys are heading east here. And this could be a Saha plus Eastern area play. As you see on our tracker here, we have a pendant at Eastern Palace as well as at Desert and Mire. We go ahead and mark these since the runners aren't going to be map checking during this, since that information is included in their spoiler logs. And in the back of Saha today, 300 rupees and a glove.
Yeah, definitely a good thing to have early. One piece of Dark World access that is required. We're still missing a pearl, and we're still missing another hammer or glove, but we do have a cape and a sword, so there are definitely several ways this could go.
Yeah, that's, you know, at least if you were playing the seed blind, that would be an indicator that maybe we could be looking at an AGA Dark World Access seed here. Right now we are in Pendant Eastern Palace, and getting a Moon Pearl and saving and quitting. So now we are heading back to Sanctuary on Humbug's side, and starting at Link's house on Shady's side. So our first kind of divergence here, I think of a meaningful variety, as Humbug's heading to the back of Escape.
Oh yeah, I think both these choices are very, very reasonable. I think I like Humbug's a little more just because of what he got there, which is the hook shot, which is probably going to make this mini Moldorm Cave like ever so slightly faster. Odds are, at least.
Yeah, if the Moldorms play nicely, you can get through here very quickly with, you know, the one bomb and one sword. But in Shady's case here, they all kind of congregated up on the top side there and dodged the bomb. So a little bit of extra time spent there, but we are going to get half magic and a lamp out of mini Moldorm Cave. So you know, get a fire source, get that lamp, which will speed up those dark rooms considerably, and half magic, a nice bonus on top of that.
Humbugh is showing that, you know, that hookshot does make it a little easier, but it's not like a guaranteed fast mini Moldorm Cave or anything. So that's also true. It's the little things that add up in this mode, oftentimes. But it's not always clear which route comes up on top in a vacuum. It's kind of just the union of all the mistakes and choices that kind of add up.
Yeah. And we see Humbugh heading back to Hyrule Castle here. I think this can only mean one thing, as Shady is on his way there as well. And sure enough, it looks like we are getting that AGA play here.
Yeah, this was kind of what I was wondering about. Maybe with a Death Warp, it wouldn't be. It really doesn't add that much. But I was thinking about the possibility of just doing AGA in one go, maybe even before the glove and pearl. But this is probably better. Just a little more boots time, and then it's an extra save and quit, and probably run to the castle that you're not doing, because you're doing it either way. In this way, you're just doing it with boots. So
yeah.
Shady having a rough time of it in the first room of Aga Tower. You don't usually think of Aga Tower as a dangerous dungeon, but with low health, green mail, and not much weaponry, like
yeah,
I don't think the difference between fighter and master sword shows up anywhere more prominently than it does in Castle Tower. At least for me, like it's the difference is just
the massive difference between having to do 8 fighter sword slashes on those 2 ball and chain guards. I mean, granted, you have the hook shot that you can stun them with, but you know, if you know the strats, you can potentially get the double spin in on with the master sword and get them down in basically, you know, 2 hits versus 8. And yeah, it can go wrong real fast, as Shady showed for us there. Humbugh having a pretty clean trip up the tower here, making good use of that hook shot there. Although he is now down to 1 heart as well. Pick up a safety heart. Oh no! Oh no! As he was lifting the pot to get to heart, the boss ran underneath him, basically. So that's going to be a restart up the tower here. And, you know, anytime you have a death in this mode, it's going to shake your confidence and shake your focus a little bit as well. So we'll have to see how Humbugh can recover from that here.
Shady not messing around with hearts at all. I don't blame him. As we saw from Humbugh, they can be a trap. He does have a cape to, you know, like if Aga starts getting sketchy, he can always cape up, and that should last him through the fight.
Yeah, should be smooth sailing from here for Shady, but
that's a huge opening for Humbugh with Shady missing that the hook speed off the stairs.
That's true. I don't know how Shady will recover from that one, but
this is far from over, though. I mean, like, Humbugh went in a little ahead, otherwise even, and he's now, like, 5-6 rooms behind.
Yeah, it'll probably be, what, like a 90-second, 2-minute difference here, all told, once we get through this. But, you know, that's... We're still on 5 hearts, we're still on Fighter Sword, we're still on Green Mail, you know. There is... you know, a lot of potential, both, you know, in just another death biting one of our runners to affect this race, but also some, you know, potential, like, you know, potential skips you can do here, or potential routing advantages that can cut into that lead here. So it's definitely not over, even with the spoiler log knowledge and everything like that. Oh no.
Well...
I felt that in my soul, Humbugh's reaction there to the hook speed, not taking there.
I don't know if he saw, looking at the stream or anything. I think he tends not to, but even if you see your opponent miss that too, like, it doesn't feel any better.
Oh no, not at all. And Humbugh probably more, you know, still much more upset about the death in the pot room there than necessarily that hook speed, but just a minor frustration that kind of seems a little worse after that.
That was quite a number of blue balls. I was not counting, but I think it was 5 or more.
Yeah, it certainly felt like it went on a while. So Shady gonna be our first runner here into the Dark World, and we're gonna see him go north here. Got a glove and got a hook shot, so we have the whole Dark World open to us at this point.
Catfish today.
No catfish today at all. And just a quick question in chat, what mode is this? This is open 7-7, but the runners are playing with the spoiler log. They had a 15-minute preparation time for this race, so they got to know where all of the items are and all the pendant crystal knowledge, all of that. We see Shady using that knowledge to just skip through the entirety of Village of Outcasts, you know, Skull Woods, everything like that. We are heading straight to Stumpy for these flippers. So certainly taking the long way to get here, but we did get them. And now presumably heading over here to Hype Cave.
Humbugh really not that far behind. Assuming he takes the same basic route.
Yeah, I mean, all told, this is not, you know, it's an unfortunate death, but oh god, unfortunate death, but it's not a deal breaker, as we see the hammer and the mitts there in Hype Cave, which is why we were never doing anything but killing Aghanim in the seed. And Humbugh taking a little bit of a different route here. He's going to stop off in Thieves Town on the way.
Yeah, interesting choice. I mean, I can see it kind of either way. I think that coming back later to Thieves is, you know, going to be safer regardless. Like, you're not going to get any less safe than you are now. But you know, the big time losses in Thieves are not having a glove and not having boots, presuming that there's nothing in the big chest that's required. So Humbugh has both those things, and so he's, you know, it's close to as fast as it's ever going to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're not giving up. You know, in terms of, you know, this dungeon doesn't have a lot of kill rooms where, you know, a sword advantage is improved, and we know the boss is gonna fight effectively the same with any sword that you've got. As we see a bow there in the shooter room of Palace of Darkness on Shady's side.
That is a phenomenal meme.
It certainly is, and the second bow is also available to our runners. I'm curious to see if Humbugh will pick it up before going to pod. Shady made the decision not to. So, I'm kind of expecting Humbugh to pick it up and have silvers for pod, but we'll see what he chooses to do.
Actually, you know, looking at the items that Humbugh is making available to himself through this play, I like it a lot more, considering that.
Yeah, with the route we're forced to take through pod, I think there are some advantages that'll, you know, some soft advantages that'll become clear here in just a minute.
Yeah, nothing game breaking, but definitely.
There's a fire rod in the bridge chest of pod. As
Very
Humbugh
nice
with
line script.
Yep. And gets the Cane of Samaria as a reward. So that will come in handy in pod and maybe potentially a few other places. And we're going to see the hammer jump here from Shadyforce right off the bat to get into the Dark Maze here. Thankfully, nice and easy with that lamp from Mini Moldorm earlier. And there is the other bow from Chest Game for Humbugh. So Shady gonna need to pick up one more small key here from the front somewhere.
Okay.
And yeah, Humbugh did not go by Stumpy to pick up those flippers at this time, so that's, you know.
Oh, that's going to be a little time lost. I think that has to have been an oversight.
Unless we're also coming back for, you know, K45 or something that I didn't see.
Oh, that's true. And there are definitely ways to mitigate that time loss. I don't think it could have lost in time to get it.
I agree. Yeah, it doesn't look like K45 is something that we'll be going out of our way for. So I'm not sure exactly if that was, you know, an intentional, hey, we'll get this later when we're going to swamp kind of thing, or what exactly the plan was. But I have, you know, there's still a possibility that you could route that in with, say, you know, some Smith chain type stuff or some other things that we could see. So.
Yeah, I think so I'm gonna I believe there's a sword on Smith.
There is, yes.
And if there's a good way for him to get the mirror before he's going to Skull, that costs him very little time to just go from the height portal to get the flippers, get Smith, and then do that on his way to Skull. which is probably his best option. I didn't see where the mirror was.
Well, the mirror is going to be behind hammer pegs today, which I would imagine you would do with the smith. So
yeah, that works out pretty well. I think. I don't think it's like, I think running to the top of VO portal and then all the way down and then back up is not that much faster than just starting from height. If you hit something on the way, that'll definitely be a good mitigating.
No. Yeah, and I misspoke. It's not the mirror at hammer pegs, but behind hammer pegs, the mirror is logic or like hard locked behind it. And now I think it's the point where Shady wishes he had those silver arrows, because we are down to an Oko Helmasaur fight, and we have some unfortunate options for how we're going to get this phase 2 done.
Use the cape, just spin him.
Oh my gosh, that was exciting, but we got through it. So, first crystal for Shadyforce there.
Yeah, Humbugh can definitely make up some good time on that fight. And Humbugh looks like he is opting for a different key. And I think I'd probably agree with this.
Yeah, with no mirror, I think this is... It's not, drastically faster, but I think this is still probably a preferable one to pick up here.
Not by much, but yeah.
So now we'll see where Shady is off to. And this might be, just a play directly back into Village of Outcasts and do, get that Cane of Samaria from Thieves Town, get Skull Woods done now that we have the Fire Rod in hand. That could be the play here. And so Shady going to pick up his silvers now, get a bonus arrow for his trouble there. Meanwhile, Humbugh just has a trip to Helmasaur left here in Palace of Darkness. So, Shady taking a hit from the Zizak there at the very start and down to 2 hearts, which is 1-hit kill with any of the Zizaks or a few other enemies in this dungeon, so he'll have to be very careful navigating here.
Yeah, one of the big considerations in Spoiler is just your health at any given moment, what you can stand to lose, what's reasonable to pick up, like that heart. If Shady was at 3 hearts, I don't think he picks that up.
I agree.
So it's one of those things where you have to weigh what you stand to lose against what you'll definitely lose by like grabbing a safety or something, and it's one of the things that makes Spoiler really hard to optimize, because like you can do the whole game on very, very low equipment, but that doesn't always mean it's going to be faster. You won't lose more time.
Right, and even if you have the execution chops to pull off, say some real low percent stuff, an average runner who has, just to take, for example, like a Vidi fight, an average runner who has silver arrows is gonna, cream an excellent runner who's in there with just, Master Sword and Cape or something, right? So you kind of have to take that sort of thing into consideration as well, not just what you can do, but what's gonna be fastest and what's gonna be a higher percentage fight as well. Speaking of higher percentages, the single arrow there for Humbugh in Phase 2 of Helmasaur is going to certainly save him some time over Shady's fight there that involved lots of Paula's buffers and fighter sword spins, etc.
I don't think we can quite say Humbug is ahead since Shady is back in the village at this point, but it has definitely gotten significantly closer.
Yeah, we'll have a better idea here once we see their routes kind of converge again later. But, you know, Humbug's still going to have to, of course, go back and pick up the flippers at some point. You know, we can't forget about that either. But this is still, yeah, like I do feel like Humbug made up some time there in that kind of recent sequence of the route.
Yeah, if Humbug had the flippers, this would be, I think this would be a lead for him, but he's definitely going to have to make up that time. Hopefully he realizes he has to.
Yeah, we're going to have to squeeze in a few extra screen transitions there for that. And Humbug, you know, started to go north there, but now coming south, so I don't know if this is going to be that... potentially that Smith and Hammer Pegs play here. Looks like we are heading to Hammer Pegs first here.
Okay, this might be Humbug heading for that mirror, which I think is probably a reasonable play.
Yep, so we got Ether there in Hammer Pegs. That's going to unlock...
Or... Is he going to continue his way to... Okay, he's going to Skull.
Okay. Yeah, Ether unlocks both Meyer and TR today, as you can see on our tracker.
Interesting. Shady making the call to grab the Smith at this point. I think so. Oh wait, never mind. They don't need the flute, but it is pretty free in Ice Palace.
That's true, but also kind of one of the... I don't want to call it a, like, you know, kind of one of the adages of spoiler racing is that if you're going to go out of your way for a sword, do it early so you have more time with that sword.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about like Ice Palace with half magic and a fire rod right now, and you get a flute in there, and then you can like do this, grab the Smith, and like do that with flute activation or something, or like have the flute activated to turn it in. But yeah, I don't know. Like having the sword for more time is definitely a very
this is a complicated one to try and estimate because you're going to have, you know, the sword has lots of kind of soft advantages. It's of course really helpful on lots of boss fights, including this Mothula fight. Although
I would suspect that Shady probably just doesn't activate the flute at this point. Like maybe to get to the mountain, but I don't think there's enough in it for him if he's doing all these dungeons now.
Yeah, and we're nice moth fight there from Humbug, not a Humbug fight. Got a couple of good hammer hits in there at the start of the fight, and then he kind of got pinned up against the spikes there for a while. So switched to fire rod, got that fight done. Never a given on 6 heart screen mail. And that is a slight crystal lead for Humbug, but as we mentioned before, he does need to go back and get those flippers from Stumpy at some point, and we have now a sword advantage with the Master Sword that Shady picked up from the Smiths. So, you know, not a completely even comparison between the two runners.
The comment about grabbing the arrows on Shady's end, that I think an arrow in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Everyone who has run spoiler has gotten to, you know, Ice Armos or Mimics without enough arrows to do it comfortably. And if you know there are arrows right there that you don't have to think about later, I think that was just picking up arrows because, you know, if he has to, like the arrows he might use for the rest of the seed might just be.
There's a nice on the way ice rod for us on the way over to Death Mountain.
Yeah, with needing to pick up the old man, I think that activating the flute is a pretty weak play, hypothetically. So I like this from both runners, because I assume Shady is doing the same thing.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, and we're not even going to stop and see any of the 7 items today in Paradox Cave. We're heading straight up to the top of the mountain to get into Turtle Rock.
Man, yeah, that missed Flipper's pickup is definitely making this very hard to evaluate, like an absolute lead, because there are still, you know, things that Humbugh could do that would affect the eventual time loss or gain of that.
Yep, so we're going to get our first look here at Turtle Rock. Of course, we're going to need to find a couple small keys here in the front to complete the dungeon. So we're going to start with the compass chest and get a small key there. And we are heading over to the roller room to follow that up.
I would say that Humbugh's apparent lead looks like it's probably slightly more than a Stumpy check, like on the way to Swamp or something. He is down the sword, which could definitely become relevant, but I think this is quite close.
Yep, and to answer the question in chat, the runners do know where the armor is, but I do not think we are going to see it today. I think we are safe to spoil this one. One of the armors is inside Pyramid Fairy, which we are not going to be... I think is going to be far too out of the way to do, and the other one is going to be in the big key room of Ganon's Tower, which we are not going to for the big key, so... I don't think we're going to see either of those armors today. I think we are finishing on green mail guaranteed, as we see the mirror there from the Chain Chomp's chest in TR.
Yeah, that was very rude Chomp's RNG for Humbugh. Being Oko, he didn't have many other options but to just kind of slow down and deal with it.
Yeah, thankfully having Cape and Half Magic at least makes it a little more bearable.
Both runners deactivating the cape a little too close to that screen transition. Have to reactivate it.
The first time that happened to me after Quick Swap kind of got its, you know, proper introduction into the racing world, I had no idea what was happening, and I thought I had just ruined myself. Yeah, so we're stealing the key here from or actually we went all the way to the big key chest because we had to get the big key. So we will need all 4 small keys here in the dungeon today.
Yeah, Shady getting much nicer movements from the Chomps, and having beams definitely helped as well. It's good. 5 to 10 seconds made up there.
Yep, and we are going to be heading outside here. We do need to get a small key out of the big chest, but we're going to stop at Mimic Cave on the way as well. And that's going to be our third sword of the seed, the second one for Humbug there. So he will have Master Sword at least to help him out during this upcoming Trinex fight.
That is not a good. You can see Shady's frustration at that damage. That is bad damage to take. That is like maybe just take a quick Death Warp after Mimic Cave damage, just to have a little more for the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, that's tough. And it's not really clear what kind of margins you're playing with. I don't know if Shady likes to kind of observe his opponents during spoiler races as well, but even right now, he may be thinking, if he hasn't been paying super close attention, he may be feeling like, oh well, I'm a little bit behind Humbug because he's further ahead in TR than I am right now. When we know that there's still kind of some complications to that margin there. So Shady does do a good job of picking up the hearts on the way, though, from the pokey room, and then they're next to the laser eye wall.
Very clutch hearts. Ooh, little early stopping that. That was another like Oko situation for Humbug though. So if he overshot his dash cancel there, he would have run right into that pokey. So it was heads up, but
yeah, I think that was the right call. But yeah, it was a little bit of a hesitation there. It cost some time. And question of where is the fourth sword? Well, it is.
Oh, that is an unfortunate menu. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the fourth sword is not going to be available to us until we've completed 7 crystals. It's in GT, but it is not a great diversion to go pick it up. So it's in Hope Room, and I think we will see at least Humbug kind of planning to pick that one up. I don't know if Shady will bother to pick it up and get to Gold Sword there. Oh gosh, we're down to half a heart. And Humbug's just going to play this one extra safe and just get 6 more Master Sword slashes in to finish this off. Not taking any chances there. And Shady having some more fun with the cape there.
So Shady, despite not looking very pleased with his TR, probably made up a little time on Humbug between the chomps and the Trinex fight he is likely to have.
Yeah, very nice backdoor there, and Tempered Sword is going to make this a much quicker fight for him. So I think we're going to see Humbug. I think this is going to have to be Flipper's time here soon.
Yeah, if he doesn't realize he skipped them, he will in about a second. Okay, he realizes.
This is never a fun stretch of the overworld to have to deal with the zero there. Alright, so there are our flippers for Humbug, and other than the sword difference at this point, we are now effectively evened up.
Yeah, this is quite close.
Yeah. So we've got a Swamp Palace, an Ice Palace, and a Tower of Hera, all of which can be made slightly faster with that Tempered Sword versus Master Sword. And I don't know what, maybe 15, 20 seconds difference here. I didn't time it out exactly. I'm just going on vibes.
Yeah, roughly the difference between the the likely average cases of each of those bosses is like, so this is quite close in that regard, because Humbugh is almost certainly going to lose 6 to 12 seconds on Argus. I don't think he goes for one cycle Master Sword Argus.
No, I don't think so.
And then, a couple seconds on Cold Stare probably, and a few seconds on Moldorm.
Yeah, and we do not have much in the way of safeties this seed. No bottles for our runners. We do have the cape and half magic in case they get themselves into a situation where that's useful, but no extra, health refills, stun prizes, anything like that. That seems to really be of any benefit to these runners today if they get themselves into trouble with health. Yeah, so far pretty clean through, diver down there for Humbugh.
Yeah, both runners have had a pretty uneventful swamp, which is what you want in Spoiler.
Yeah, slightly different strat there from Shady.
A nice heart pickup for Humbugh there. Extremely common to take one hit in the Phelps Way here. And that put him at 3 hits to Argus instead of 2. And taking hits to Argus is a lot easier with Master Sword.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna see. It looks like 2 puffs at a time, and trying to get spins in for Humbugh. So, whereas Shady is just gonna need single slashes on each puff. And he's going with the poke dash strats here. Looks like did not go successfully. Gonna have to be a little bit careful.
Just barely missed a 1 cycle, even with the spins. That was a good fight for Humbugh.
And Shady just got the 1 cycle in there. So gonna make up a slight bit of time. We'll see kind of from the crystal animation here exactly what margins we're dealing with as both runners get crystal number 5. It's like about 6 seconds difference there on the fade to black. So yeah, now we got a go mode ice palace here. We'll see if the runners. Let's see, where are the keys? Got a vanilla big key, and we got keys in. The keys are in Freezor and Iced Tea. That's kind of annoying. I guess you could pick up Freezor on the way with the big key and skip hitting the switch here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think it's very reasonable to do that with half magic, but it's also like the room's not very fast, and the difference between hitting the switch and not is pretty marginal. Like I know in the vanilla NMG, like they don't pick up the big key because of like the text boxes and stuff. But there's also a key in Spike Chest,
right?
And so I like the margins are very, very small.
Yeah, and we're seeing both runners going back and hitting the switch here. I don't think there's a clear right or wrong answer to this one, but yeah, this is it's again it's just one of those kind of things that you have to factor in when you're playing Spoiler, and you have to devote brain cycles to, if that makes any sense, to just trying to figure out which one of these small decisions do I take, which one. And you kind of have whatever factors you might have to figure out which one is preferable in that circumstance.
Yeah, I kind of wouldn't have expected to see Humbug get the big key, just because using a couple extra magic shots and freeze orb. I guess he should have been back to full anyway, but like if anything went wrong, he had to waste a Samaria block or something.
Right.
He would have been down a Fire Rod shot.
Yeah, Humbug wants to save a little extra magic here because the Fire Rod's going to be his equalizer on the Cold Stare fight, with Shady having the Tempered Sword to potentially make up a little time here. And we're going to see nearly simultaneous drops into Cold Stare here. Oh no.
That.
Alright, so Humbug missed the spin there to try and keep them much together, and he's going to have a much longer fight, assuming that he's also in one-hit KO to everything in this room.
Those movements. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But we do have a pretty clear
last ice.
Yep, we do have a pretty clear lead change here now, as Shady fades to black at about 45 minutes even. Humbug picks up his 6th crystal here, but it's going to be close to a 20-second margin, I think, in favor of Shady. Plus, Humbug's going to need, he's still got the sword disadvantage. Of course, he can rectify that in GT coming up here, but I think that fight might put Shady, with a little bit more breathing room here going into the end game.
Really hard to say like anything like driver's seat or anything with a margin this close, because there's so much that can happen still, and there's a quite free sword. But yeah, Shady definitely getting his value out of that Tempered Sword. In relation to Humbug, at least.
So yeah, now we got both runners coming up here. We've got some different routes coming up the mountain here. Humbug choosing to use the TR portal, whereas Shady went through the South Death Mountain portal and came up through Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, Humbug has been doing this, I know, because I assume Zelga and I both saw that Humbug made up some time on Zelga taking the other path, because in our race yesterday, both of us took the TR portal. And that's why I did it, because I was like, well, if this goes well, it's faster. Oh my gosh, the cape is just wreaking havoc today.
Shady doing a Philly pot style Hera pot to get up to the top of Tower of Hera. And Humbug
didn't think he got it.
He got the hook speed, but then ran right into the fireball from the Kadongo. So, Shady done with his Moldorm fight. Humbug 1 room away. But again, Master Sword versus Tempered, not a huge difference here, but it's still going to be an extra hit that Humbug has to do on Moldorm.
It was a very fast hit, though. That was
a very clean fight for him. So 7 crystals for both runners. Shady going to open up GT first. And we'll be able to get a kind of a clear margin here on GT entry to see exactly what we're looking at here. Going into Ganon's Tower. And we are heading left on Shady Force's side.
I wonder if we have I didn't see where the big key was. Are we going to see like divergence in sides, or are we?
I don't think so, but Humbugh is
Okay. I see.
okay.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely not worth it for Shady, but definitely worth it for Humbugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and our big key is in Rando Room today, so
Okay.
I believe we're getting a key here. Yeah. So with the mini helmet key upstairs, we'll be good to go for that. All right, so Shady was hoping that was going to be the refill heart piece for him there, but
He might be counting on a refill at the top if there's another one.
there is not, so I hope he's not counting on it. And now Humbugh has his big key in hand. So still in the neighborhood of a little over 20 seconds difference here, but not, by no means an insurmountable margin. Gauntlet execution, Lanmo 2 fight, Moldorm 2, Aga 2, all of these things can add up to a few seconds here, even with very, very talented runners. Shady with a nice clean gauntlet so far.
Yeah, this is not the kind of gauntlet that leaves a lot of room to make up time in.
And a nice clean Lanmo 2 there for Shady as well. So yeah, not leaving any openings there for Humbugh to make up big ground.
Humbugh's gauntlet is going just fine as well, though. Not really losing much either. Oh, the worst. G5 RNG.
Yeah. He recovers it okay, but it's still a couple seconds there.
That's why I always, I'm a big fan of G5 Arrow, but I always use Fire Rod with Quick Swap.
Okay, good. He's going to clean up that Lanmo fight. Missed the first arrow there on the third worm, but, no major time loss there. But Shady already flying up this tower. He's in Torches 2 at this point. And nothing upstairs that's going to help us. It's rupees in all 4 of the chests up here, so we're not going to see anybody opening anything up here. It's just going to be getting to the end of the game as quickly as possible. Again, a clean Moldorm kill there for Shady. And Humbugh still, right behind. He's in that region to capitalize on any mistakes that happen, but the amount of time, at this point, the kind of mistake that he's going to need to catch up is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, even though the lead hasn't really changed, it's just there are fewer opportunities for that amount of time to just disappear the later you get in the race.
Yeah, and this was a pretty clean Aga 2 there from Shady, getting a triple there on the first cycle and a double there on the second cycle, and it's hard to imagine getting a triple off of that one. So, Humbugh, again, not going to have an opportunity to make up time there either. Humbugh matches that triple for phase 1 as well, though. And he is going to get the... he is going to save a cycle there. Well done.
Very nice. 6 seconds back.
Shady gets the 1-1 there, so through the first 2 phases there as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
as
and
Humbugh drops in.
I like that cape usage from Shady. Completely unnecessary, practically speaking, but it just ensures that he's not going to be. He's not going to, accidentally like walk into Ganon or something for the cost of an animation. I know Shady watches. He knows where he stands in the race. That's the kind of little insurance play that makes him so good at this mode. And
oh no,
takes a tragic death.
Shady takes his time setting up that last fire or last torch hit there. Gonna get his 4 silver arrow in, get Ganon down. And as long as he crosses the bridge here cleanly, going to get the win here in this race. So get your GGs in the chat for shadyforce. And you can see the legitimate jubilation there on Shady's side, finishing with an official time of 55:25 in our race room.
Yeah, Ganon on the refight not being any kinder with warps.
Yeah, no.
Deeper in the RNG seed, I should say. Oh, this might be a triple, though.
Yep, and a nice cleanup there from Humbugh. So get your GGs in chat for Humbugh as well.
Very nice refight.
All right, and we will see if we can get our runners in here to join us, I hope.
I think we will be joined by both.
It looks like it. Welcome in. We are joined by both of our runners from this race, shadyforce and Humbugh. GGs.
GG, Shady. Hello.
I'm not sure if we have...
Playing the strong and silent type.
Yeah.
Hello, GG, Humbugh.
GG, dude.
Oh, I was so nervous at the end. I was like shaking. I was, man. I've never climbed Gauntlet when under so much pressure because I knew you were right behind me.
Okay, I had no idea. I don't have the heart. Like I don't have the nerves to actually watch someone else play the same seed as I do at the same time. So I had no idea. I thought you were way ahead. I was like, oh. All right, I guess I'll do Ganon's Tower. That was basically my my state of mind the whole scene. Like, okay, onward to the next dungeon. Jeez.
I thought I had blew it when I picked up the Smith and then totally forgot that I didn't have a mirror.
Oh, dude!
And then I was basically forced to commit to the whole idea of just having tempered for Argus and Cold Stare and hoping that was enough. Like I'll save a little bit of time back from you getting your tempered in such out of the way hope room with a key next to it. But
right.
I was just relieved I didn't have to go right side. I could just go full left and have the whole time save.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually look at the Turtle Rock key layout, and when I saw that the big chest was required, I was like face palming in my head, if not on the camera, because I realized that we're actually as close as possible to that sword, and that's just much better sword than the smith.
Yeah. I actually I actually realized that I couldn't get the smith sword while I was dashing over to Kakariko to do Skull Woods, because I was intending to grab the sword along with Ether, but I realized in time that I couldn't.
Yep, that the mirror being behind the Ether medallion today made that quite difficult.
Indeed.
Yeah, we did talk a little about like the flute was in the first chest of ice, and there were some things you could have done to like maybe activate it, but you needed Old Man too, and it didn't seem worth.
Needing Old Man was the kind of main final decision point to not get the flute. I was thinking about it the whole seed though. It seems almost worth. It seems close.
Yeah, I think Shady, if you had done Thieves the first time and gone to
Samaria.
gotten Samaria, and then right after Pod done Ice Palace instead of running to Village. I think that might have been the use case for getting flute.
I couldn't decide if I wanted to do Thieves first time or not, because I still wasn't sure in my head what swords we were getting. So was I going to have Sure. I know Master Sword's not a big difference in Thieves, but it's a bit safer because I'm killing some enemies in one hit. So I thought I couldn't decide, so I was like, well, I'm just going to run down a Hype Cave and worry about it later. And then later on, I'm like, oh, I wish I had Samaria, because now I could do early ice and maybe that make something work that way. I would also save a second or two in Pod as well, I think. But
well, if you'd gotten the
that is
chest,
if you
chest
actually
game
get
bow, that would have been
also that I forgot about
that
that
was
as well.
That was a terrifying helmet fight. You played it well, but.
You lived. That's the most important part.
Oh man, yeah, that was and then afterwards I was like, oh, I could have had that bow and chess game actually. Yeah, that would have been smart. Oh well, this was imperfectly played. I played well in the end though. I felt under a lot of pressure, but I'm very happy with the GT and Ganon and everything I did. So I'm glad I didn't choke at the end. So that's
what was the difference going into Ganon?
About
time-wise.
We were seconds.
Yeah, probably 15 to 20. Yeah,
because it was in the 20s range.
It was right about Shady had finished up his 1-1 right about the time you were getting the text boxes, I think.
Okay.
Because you saved a cycle on Agatu.
Oh, you got the 2 cycle, nice.
I actually did get the 2 cycle.
Nice gaming, yeah.
Pure luck, because I have no idea how to do it.
I don't know if that counts as pure luck, dude. Come on. Yeah, I accidentally hit all 6 back at him without any problems. Sure, yeah.
Fair. But can I just can we put a suggestion to the devs to make the hookshot work with guards? For the love of God.
Oh, were they just going through guards all the time? And extending?
The guards, like the line of sight they have interrupting the hookshot in Castle Tower, that screwed me over so many times. I lost so many hearts, and then I died on the same frame as I picked up the 1 heart under the pot in Circle of Pots.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I picked up the heart, it disappeared from the screen. But I also died.
Yeah, that was infuriating that you picked up the pot and you were right there to get the safety, and then somehow the guard managed to quick recognize you and move and get there before you could register the heart pickup.
Oh, good thing that the Castle Tower climb wasn't so slow then. Wait, we only had fighter sword. Awesome.
Yeah. As I say, it was interesting because you were the first one into Castle Tower by a very small margin, Humbugh, and Shady had a little difficulty there in the first ball and chain guard room, where he was kind of on low health for a fair bit of the climb, and then you seem to be kind of trucking along. You're doing all right, using the hook shot there on the red guards upstairs, and then just out of nowhere, it kind of all went wrong.
Yeah, it blew up in my face completely. So that second climb, it was pure agony having to kill all of those red guards again with a fighter sword.
Yeah, I mean, like anytime you take a death in spoiler mode, it's always going to be even more feels bad than in a regular seed. But then to have to do it, as you're redoing a long stretch of gameplay there in Castle Tower, that makes it even more just like it's so much harder to keep your composure and keep calm and everything like that.
For sure.
But you did a good job of kind of clawing back in this race. You made up bits of time here and there. Obviously we kind of touched on your pod being one area where you're able to make up some time with Samaria and Silvers in hand, but even then you kind of kept clawing back time throughout the seed, even with the sword disadvantage. And it was a very, very interesting race to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think grabbing the Smith sword for Shady, it makes a lot of sense that it was a mistake. But I mean, you commit to it, and it's hard to feel too bad about having an extra sword for the whole seed.
Yeah, I would have made up a lot more time if I had a good Argus fight. Like the Argus fight was a disaster too. I even practiced it right before the race, and it was fine. and then I lost all of those 20-25 seconds I could potentially save having tempered.
That's why you never practice Land Mode 1 right before doing NMG runs. Because you can't you cannot do it fast if you practice.
Yep.
Just never practice, really. Just do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cheating anyway.
Just do. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, GG's guys. Humbugh, this is unfortunately your last race in the tournament. But any final thoughts on it? You played very well throughout. And...
honestly, I feel like I played on borrowed time almost. I did not think that I would win two races in the brackets here. That's way better than I had anticipated. So I'm happy with how I played. And I have regrown my fondness for Spoiler. It's super fun. Everyone should try it.
Can confirm it is a very fun mode. It can be scary, but you can also kind of tailor it to your skill level a little bit and play within your bounds, and it can be a real fun time for sure. Shady, for you, still living in this tournament.
For a very short time. I'm about to get dumpstered by Rockin. The writing is on the wall.
Well, still got to play it out for sure. That'll be a fun race to watch, no doubt.
Yeah, it'll be fun to race him no matter what. But I'm happy. I'm just happy to have won a few games in the top 16 as well. Like I was just worried about getting 0-2 is like a very real possibility for everyone in this. So I'm happy to get a couple of wins under my belt.
For sure, there were 16 very, very talented gamers in this bracket stage. So no shame to anyone who made it this far, made it through qualifiers to get here, and a lot of S tier gamers here in this tournament.
Yeah, and thanks for covering it. I wasn't sure if a restream is actually happening at the end, so I didn't realize. I had Humbugh stream up, but I didn't have a restream up or anything, so I didn't know if that was happening until I finished, and then I checked to see. So thanks for hopping in and covering it. I'm looking forward to watching it back.
Yeah, I can just echo that. Thanks for hosting this and coming in. Tracking, yes. Shout outs to our tracker, Maddie Walker. They did a great job jumping in here late with us as well, and doing the tracking here and also helping us with some of the setup stuff. Really appreciate that. And Vortex, pleasure as always.
Yeah, likewise. Coming up later, we have... Yeah, so at 6:15 we have, I think that's a semifinal match, right? Gamma versus Zelga Dasan on SG2. That'll be the winner of that goes to finals. If I am remembering, I don't have the bracket pulled up, but that should be the case. It's going to be an excellent race. Both runners, very, very good. Yeah, so thanks everyone. Any final words from anyone else?
I guess not.
Alrighty then. Well, that should do it for us, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.